There's something about when you see the mailman walking up to your porch and you're inside, but you don't want him to know that you're just sitting there waiting for the package. Oh no, sir. I wasn't just waiting here all day for this package. Maybe that's just me. Ooh. Boxes within the box. It's like Russian nesting dolls in here. Oh yeah. Even when you know exactly what's inside, there's just something about the unboxing experience that's just so much fun, you know? The moment of truth. Oh yeah. Let's get into the Godox SL-60W light kit. Greetings and salutations, my friends. My name is Travis, aka Dad, and welcome to Dad Does Tech. I'm just an ordinary dad who loves tech and camera stuff. My goal is to help you find the right gear and get the most out of it. And today we are looking at a continuous lighting kit for photography and video. The kit includes the Godox SL-60W light, as well as the Sokani octagonal softbox and light stand. I've had this light for a couple weeks now and I've been able to put it through a lot of tests as well as use it in some real life situations. So I'm going to go over all the features and all the things you get included with this lighting kit, and then I'm going to tell you in my personal opinion how it performs and how I would use this light. Before we go any further, I did want to let you know that this lighting kit was sent to me for review. This is not a sponsored video and they did not get to see this video before I made it, so they have no idea what I'm going to say. These are all my thoughts, mine alone. I just wanted to let you know that ahead of time, and if you do jump down to the description and check out any of the links to check out this lighting kit or anything like that, these are affiliate links. So if you do decide to buy something from one of those links, I will get a small commission. This of course costs you nothing, but it is a good way to help out the channel, and I just wanted you to know that ahead of time. On to the review. So we'll start with the most important part of any lighting kit, and that is the light itself. The Godox SL-60W, it is a cob LED style light, and that stands for chip on board. It's a whole bunch of small LEDs jam-packed on one small circuit chip. This is a really bright 60 watt light that is daylight balanced at 5600 Kelvin in its color temperature. One of the best things about the Godox SL-60W is that the light is a Bowens mount light, and it does come with one Bowens mount accessory, which is this small beauty dish that does a halfway decent job of funneling the light into a more concentrated, spotty light source. However, there's not very many situations where I have found that to be all that useful because it doesn't do anything in the way of diffusion. But the nice thing about it being a Bowens mount light is that you can take off the beauty dish and attach any third-party accessory that is Bowens mount onto this light. And there is a multitude of them from a million manufacturers for you to choose from. One of the important things to know about this light is that it doesn't offer battery power at all. You are going to need to be able to plug into a power source. The nice thing about this light is that it does offer an extremely long power cable for a stock power cable that comes included. It's probably 6 to 8 feet in length. It's pretty long. The control panel for this light is very simple, and it's located on the back of the light itself. There's a button to group multiple lights together if you want to do that. There is an on-off switch, a 3-prong power supply input, and knob that allows you to adjust the brightness, and then a small LCD screen that actually says the brightness of your light currently, the brightness setting, as well as the temperature inside of the light. The Godox SL-60W does come with a small remote that is fairly thin and highly pocketable, so you can stick it in your pocket, and then when you need to adjust the brightness of your lights, you can pull it out and you can change it from across the room, which is super great. However, this remote does have some things about it that are real head scratchers that I think we should talk about. So one of the weird things about this remote is that it never turns off unless you turn it off. So if you turn your light off manually because it's got a switch on the back of it, your remote's still on. And that's what's happening, is that it just drains until it's dead. Now maybe I have a defective one and they're not all like this. If you have this light and you don't have this problem, would you let me know down in the comments? Because I'm very curious if this is just a kind of glitch or if they're all like this. The next kind of quirky thing about this remote is that on the LCD screen it gives you the color temperature of the light, which we know is 5600 degrees Kelvin. Mine says 4200 degrees Kelvin, What? To make it even more weird, when you press the set button, you can actually change that number to whatever color temperature you want. But it doesn't do anything because the light is only 5600 degree Kelvin daylight balanced. So I don't know what's going on and why it has that ability on here, but you can't change the color temperature, so it's just pointless. Another weird thing about this remote is that the light itself has the ability to be dimmed down to 10% brightness. That's as low as it goes, is 10%. And you can adjust it down, turning the knob 10%. But when you use the remote, for whatever reason, the lowest you can go is 25%. Why can't you go the rest of the 15% down to 10? I don't understand. Now that won't necessarily be a big deal for everybody. Sometimes your lights are pretty close to you, but if it's far away, it might just be kind of annoying because you have to get up, walk over there, go behind the light, turn it down all the way to 10%. So you can set the brightness level to whatever you want, but if you were to set it from the back of the light versus the remote, they're not in sync. So if the remote was, you last used a brightness level of 25%, and then on the back of the light, you bumped it all the way up to 100. As soon as you click the up button on your remote to increase the brightness level, it's going to increase it by 1 from whatever the last brightness level was on the remote, which was 25%. So it's just going to bump it to 26, but it was just at 100. So they're not in sync, and the remote will always take priority over what is being done on the actual device itself. I know that was a lot of information and it was probably really confusing, but hopefully it made sense. Now, going into testing this light, there were two things that I often hear being associated with this light, and that is flickering and fan noise. So I went ahead and tested those things so I could get an idea if those would be issues for you when you're filming. As far as flickering goes, most people were experiencing the flickering issue when they were trying to achieve slow motion by shooting in higher frame rates. I did some testing with this and shot in higher frame rates at different shutter speeds, and I was unable to replicate the issue with flickering. That being said, I was only able to shoot in up to 120 frames per second, so maybe it happens in higher frame rates than that, but up to 120 frames per second, it did not happen on my unit. If you are using this for video, you do have to kind of be aware of that there is a little bit of fan noise. So if it's further than 6 feet or so away, you're definitely not going to pick it up on your microphones, but if it's 2 or 3 feet away and right up on your subject, then it might be something you have to remove in post-processing. Now that we've gone over some of the features of this light, let's take a look at this light kit fully assembled and see what it can do in this specific environment with this setup right now and see how it compares. So what you're seeing now is the Godox SL-60 light kit fully assembled with the Sokani octagonal softbox in the exact same spot as my current key light, set to current settings trying to match exposure. And you'll notice right away, it's got pretty good light. It's a pretty good look, but you probably noticed that the background is significantly brighter than my current key light. And the reason for that is that my current key light is using an octagonal softbox, but with a grid. It's a honeycomb grid that actually helps make this light more directional, and that way it doesn't spill out across my background, allowing me to light my background separately, which is what I tend to do with my colored RGB lights. If you really want to create that separation between your foreground and your background and be able to light your background separately, it's probably a good idea to pick up a honeycomb grid for whatever softbox you decide to get. Now, the next thing you'll probably notice, if we compare the Godox Sokani softbox combo with the current key light and softbox combo I'm using, if we can put those side by side, you'll see that the Godox and Sokani have a little bit more of a harsh shadow along the side of my face, and there's not as much of a gradual drop off as you'd see with my current key light. The reason for that is actually sheer size of the softbox. The parabolic softbox that I'm using for this key light is just exponentially larger than the Sokani softbox, which is allowing it to be a larger light source coming across my face for more light wrapping around, making those shadows less harsh. In fact, if you take the Godox SL-60W and take it out of the smaller Sokani softbox and put it into my larger Glow Easy parabolic softbox, which I'll link down in the description below if you decide you want to check that one out, It's much larger, but if you put the light inside there, honestly, if you weren't really looking for it and you didn't know, it would be kind of hard to tell which light was which. One of the easy things that you can do to help eliminate some of that shadow on the side of your face and make it a little more gradual is to add a fill light on the other side. By adding a small fill light on the opposite side of your face, you'll see those shadows start to lighten up and brighten up, and that will make the shot feel less moody, and you'll have that nice, soft, flattering look. Now, another huge benefit of this Sokani Softbox has to be how small it is. Its size makes it super portable. It comes with this small duffel bag that only takes about 40% of this bag. So you can easily stick some other things in here when you've got your softbox already inside. And that's pretty awesome because the softbox folds up and you can take it anywhere. And even if you were just moving it from room to room in your house, you wouldn't actually have to tear down the softbox to move it from room to room. Plus, if it was just in your office or in your studio, it's not going to take up as much space folded up or already assembled on a stand. Whereas this Glow Easy parabolic softbox I have to fold it down just to get it through the door. I'm definitely gonna have to put it into some case or something when I go to transport it on location. So if you're using it in your office or using it on site, either way, having a smaller one is gonna make it a lot more appealing when you're trying to store it or walk around it and you're not having to bump into it all the time. On top of that, this light kit comes with a light stand, and you may be thinking, who cares? You can get a light stand for 20, 25 bucks. And that is true, but when you're dealing with lights, especially more expensive lights, and a Bowens mount light, you're gonna start to add accessories like the softbox that this kit comes with, or a Fresnel lens. When you start adding accessories to the front of your light, it's gonna become very front heavy and all of a sudden very top heavy. And so you want something that has a wide base and a strong center of gravity. So you don't wanna use a cheap light stand. I've knocked over so many of my lights and I've broken a couple of them enough to know that I'm never going to use a cheap light stand to hold up one of my lights ever again. So if you want a good light stand and a softbox included for a pretty decent value, I think the kit is a great way to go. As for what this light kit is best suited for and who it's suited for, I would say it's really great for things like product videos or product photography. It's really good for interviews, anything like talking head YouTube videos, stuff like this would be great for this light kit. It's ideal being a 60-watt light for a setting that's smaller like this. Now, this isn't a comparison video, and I'm not saying that the Godox SL-60W is better than my Klara LumiMax 120, because the Klara LumiMax 120 can do bicolor and it takes V-mount batteries, which are things that the Godox can't do. But as far as the quality of the light and the looks that you can get with the light, I mean, they're very indistinguishable. They're very similar. And that's pretty awesome because the Klara LumiMax is over $200 more than the Godox SL-60W. And if you would like to see an in-depth review of the Klara LumiMax 120, please let me know down in the comments below so I know if that's a video that you'd like to see. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, found it helpful, or mildly entertaining, please smash that like button and hit subscribe for more videos like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later. So one of the weird things about this remote is that, whoa, almost lost that.
Funny thing is, this thing doesn't even work.